My boy
Whoever
T-Belly.
disliked is a hashtag filthy animal.
What's up, YouTube?
It's me.
Alright.
Your dog.
Here's your world.
It's me, T-Belly here.
Beautiful.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's me, your guy, T-Belly here, King of Retro. We're going to continue my top 10 video games of all time. We're going to continue that right now. So I'm going to start with, we already did, number 10 through 6. Shout out to Wes of Gaming Off the Grid. He wanted me to get in-depth with it and speak about these games, what they meant to me. And I didn't get too much on what they meant to me because I just have such a love for these games. And so many games. But my top 10, this was an easy list for me to make. So if you missed out on the first part, make sure you go back and check out the first part of this video, which is basically my games from 10 to 6. I'm also showing the Metacritic scores, and there are some games that are a little bit old. You know, we like retro. And some of those games just do not have a Metacritic score. So we got the next best thing, which is IGN. And if that wasn't available, in one case, I believe in one case, we got Gamespot. Gamespot? No, not GameSpot. GamePro magazine, there you go. But GameSpot was also available if need be. So let's get this list rolling. Again, shout out to Gaming Off the Grid, Robert and Wes for tagging me. I know I'm very late. I caught COVID. I had to knock it out like I knock Mike Tyson out all the time. Even though there was a point I never used to do that. And speaking of Mike Tyson, I mean, at number 5, we have Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, baby. This game is awesome. Awesome game. If you didn't know about this list, we're using one game of each franchise. So just because you saw number 6 as an NES and this is an NES does not mean that these are my 1 and 2 favorite games in the NES, because we're going with one of each franchise. Just a heads up on that. Like, oh, so I know his top 2 NES games. No, you don't, because we're using one of each franchise. But there's no Metacritic for this, obviously, because it's retro. There's no GamePro score, but there's a GameSpot. GameSpot covered this game, and they gave it a score of 8 out of 10. So the streak continues. All good games. Nothing below an 8. I mean, this and Super G&G got 8s. Everything else is rated higher than that. So I said my list, maybe not the perfect list, maybe not the best list, but it is a awesome list, because we don't have no garbage games here. You ain't gonna find no 5s and 6s up here. This is a legit list, and it's personal favorites of mine. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!. It's kind of put in a world of, it's not a boxing game. It's a rhythm-based game. And it's like, it is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!. It is a boxing game on the NES, okay? You punch left, you punch right. You high punch left in the face. Basically, you punch in the body. You hit the body left or right. With a left punch or a right punch. You hit the face with a left punch or a right punch. And if you get stars, you can do the Superpower Little Mac. Boom! Big hit. I guess it's supposed to be an uppercut, but he literally like pulls back and jumps and rocks him. So you got Tiny Little Mac versus these brick sprites. All of these guys. You start with Glass Joe and you end with the legend himself, Mike Tyson. There is a regular Punch-Out! Game on the NES, which they removed Mike Tyson because he went to jail and for some personal things that happened in his life. And Nintendo decided to not re-sign him, and they just made somebody called Mr. Dream, which is pretty much a white guy version of Mike Tyson. Same guy, but he's just white. That's it. But Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, man. What a classic NES game. What a challenge. You have to literally learn every boxer. You have to learn their patterns. You need to learn their tricks. And although I get it, it's all rhythm-based. There's a technique to fighting every boxer. Different people have different ways of fighting them. But you have to learn it. So unless you're looking it up, you have to learn this. It takes time to beat this game. Obviously, people love to look things up, so it takes away the fun of learning the game. But if you sit there and you fight and you grind and you learn the game, like T-Belly did, you learn to love the game. And then you get to Mike Tyson. When you get to Mike Tyson, it's a different ball game. I had a very similar story with my 6th game, which I'm going to have to spoil it, Battletoads, where I was stuck on the Klinger Winger because of this TV behind me. There's an LCD TV. Well, guess what else I played on this LCD TV way before Battletoads? Punch-Out. This was the main reason I lost to Mike Tyson over 500 times. But eventually, I got the victory on this TV with the input lag, like a real champion. I do not suggest, do not stay away from input lag. When it comes to those hard retro games, get a CRT or get a solution that works, because input lag is not fun. But with that said, guys, this game is just so much fun. The characters, the music, the graphics, the sound effects, such a satisfying game. I can't get enough of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I mean, if I had some time, I would play today. But I gotta get a Battletoads victory, because believe it or not, I'm rusty in Battletoads. I failed twice. Well, once. The second time I quit. Yeah, I actually quit on the final level. I was just annoyed. I said, you know what? I'll play this another time. But yeah, man, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, phenomenal game. Not enough games in the franchise, but this one is the way to go. True challenge, so much fun. And that's my thing. Just have fun. Even if you can't get past Soda Popinski, which to me is like the first big hurdle, is Soda Popinski. Just have fun with the game, you know? And that's it. It's all about having fun. So, number 4. Well, I actually do have this physical. It's part of a two-game story. This game is special to me. So, Castlevania Rondo of Blood is my 4th favorite game of all time. Now, I know most people, it's also the prequel to Symphony of the Night. This is the best Castlevania game. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It is the best Castlevania game overall. It is the first Metroidvania Castlevania game. But overall, it's a game that you need to play and just keep playing it. It's not really a pick up and play, where Rondo of Blood is a traditional linear Castlevania game. It's a game that you pretty much, you start at point A, you go to point B. It's traditional Castlevania, linear, and I prefer that. And I think as great as Symphony of the Night is, you have to be in the mood for Metroidvania. You need to remember what you last did, where with the other Castlevanias, you just pick up and play and just go. And that's what I like. That's what I like. I had to turn off this monitor, by the way, because it had too much glare in the first video, which this one is going crazy. So we might not be doing this view again. But anyway, as I keep going, Rondo of Blood, I do have the physical version. I just lent it to a friend, and they have COVID, so I can't pick it up. But I played it on the PC Engine, man. I played it where it belongs. I played it in its true form. Now, the first time I played the game, I actually borrowed Die Hard Gamer Bros PC Engine Duo R with his copy of Castlevania Rondo of Blood. But eventually I got my own copy of the game, and I love this game. Richter Belmont is so badass. He does the flips. Not only does he throw the special items, but he has the special attacks for each item. He's a badass. He does a lot of things Simon doesn't do, and there's a reason why he made it onto the roster of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate along with Simon Belmont. I mean, Richter is just as important to Simon as Simon is to Castlevania. Richter Belmont is badass. He's only in 3 games, which is Rondo of Blood, Dracula X, which is it's a Super Nintendo version of Rondo. It's different, but it's the same theme. And then he's also in Symphony of the Night. He's not your main character, but he's a big part of the story. And when you beat Symphony of the Night, which you use Alucard in that game, you can actually play with Richter Belmont. He has some really cool moves. So he's in 3 of the games. And it's pretty much a story of Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. When you start Symphony of the Night, you start at the Dracula fight of Rondo of Blood. It's pretty crazy. The game only came out in Japan. I truly feel like if America got this game, it would have been a lot bigger than what it was. There's a PSP remaster, or should I say, no, actually a remake on the PSP. I need to get that. I need to get a PSP and get that game, and that looks freaking awesome. And it's just the pure Castlevania experience for me. Multiple routes to go, challenge, excellent music because it was on the PC Engine CD, so it had the CD audio music, CD quality music, CD quality sound. It was just the ultimate Castlevania experience. I mean, if you go to every linear Castlevania, there's not too many after Rondo. There was probably 3 or 4 linear games after that. It literally outshines. I mean, the only game, very few games I think even compete with it. Games like Castlevania 3, Castlevania 1, and Super Castlevania 4. Games like that are the games that compete with Rondo. But Rondo is just phenomenal. And 10 out of 10 times, you give me Rondo, you give me Symphony of the Night, I'm just going to grab Rondo and just play, you know? Even though Symphony of the Night is probably the purest Castlevania game, I have to put Rondo my top 4 of all time. And did I mention the Metacritic score? It actually did not get a Metacritic score, but it got an IGN score of 9 out of 10. I keep forgetting to say my Metacritics. Screw me, and I'm messing up the video. But Rondo Blood got a 9 out of 10. Excellent Castlevania experience. Excellent story when you play it and you beat everything because there's multiple paths. And then you go on and play Symphony of the Night. Phenomenal story. My favorite 2-game story in gaming history is the Rondo of Blood with Symphony of the Night story that go together. It's my favorite. And yeah, that's my 4th favorite game of all time. So now it's time for the top 3. So number 3, here we go. Okay, guys, so number 3, this game got a Metacritic. Okay, so my top 3 games all have Metacritic, so there's no need to look for other sources. Metacritic score of 95. Grand Theft Auto Vice City, baby, for the PlayStation 2. Now, I know a lot of people like BS, GTA 5. GTA 5 is amazing. GTA 5 is a 10 out of 10. GTA 5 is still going. A game that released in 2013 has an online community still strong in 2022, and they're even releasing a PS5 and Xbox Series version this year of GTA 5. The game is that awesome. But I just think overall, this is still the complete Grand Theft Auto experience. Vice City, man. I mean, Vice City was so damn good, man. So damn good. I can't get over the theme. The theme of this game is just so freaking awesome, dude. Why is this thing so bright, dude? What's wrong with you, Golden Axe? But, dude, the theme of this game is so freaking cool, man. You go back to the 80s. It gives you that Miami Vice feel, that Scarface feel. And there's another movie or show I'm forgetting. But a lot of Miami Vice and Scarface in this game. A lot of references from that. The music soundtrack, still the greatest soundtrack in Grand Theft Auto history. This is a phenomenal game. I still need to get that collector's edition CD soundtrack set, man. I really do. I really, really do. And we're going to change this mid-video. During video, we're going to change this background because Golden Axe is really brightening up the party back there, guys. Won't you say? So let's get something a little darker, like maybe some Contra Hardcore. Let's get that rolling in the background. Because, jeez, man, Golden Axe is blowing mine with the brightness. And, yeah, we're just as bright right now. So, probably last time we do this setup. But Grand Theft Auto Vice City, fun game. Tommy Vercetti is such a likable character. He is so much fun. He is funny. Ray Liotta was his voice actor, if I'm correct. I hope I'm not wrong, but I'm pretty sure Ray Liotta is the voice actor. I'm looking at it right now, and I can't see it here. But I'm pretty positive it is Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta, obviously, Goodfellas. Shout out to the Hoodfellas. And Ray Liotta was in movies with Joe Pesci and Al Pacino. I mean, top mob. Well, they call it crime drama. But for me, I just call them mob movies. One of the top mob movie actors in history is Ray Liotta. And he played Tommy Vercetti. And if I'm wrong, well, it'll say right here that I'm wrong. But Ray, that game is just so addicting. So much fun. I beat it originally with no codes. I mean, it was that good. I said, no codes. I'm going to run through this properly. And I beat it so many times. Even now, I'm playing it on the Grand Theft Auto collection, or whatever it's called. The remake, the remaster, the collection on Next Gen, which was a total mess by Rockstar. I ran through GTA 3. I tried to platinum it. It was just too tedious. So now I'm playing finally through Vice City. I touch it here and there, and it's just an excellent game. And I still, this is the premiere version. You want either the PlayStation 2 or the original Xbox version of this game. It has all of the music, which a lot of the music is not there anymore. They've even taken things out the game. I mean, it's crazy, dudes. It's really crazy how much changes happen to these GTA games over copywritten music. But GTA Vice City is just a complete game. So much fun, and it means so much to me, man. It's a game that literally I just can't get enough of. I love Vice City, man. And to this day, I know GTA 5 is a more complete game. It has better graphics, better controls. You know, they updated controls within time. But I have to say that Vice City still has that charm. And that's why I made my top 3 games of all time, man. So now we're going on to my number 2. Number 2 game of all time. This game is special to me, and it's literally my favorite PlayStation franchise. It's my second favorite gaming franchise of all time. And it also landed, the very first game in the series landed my number 2 game of all time. And that is God of War for the PlayStation 2. Also, the PlayStation 3 HD collection version is an excellent version. And the game is so badass, the PS Vita collection has God of War 1 and 2. They put the God of War 1 box art on the cover. Which, by the way, this is the worst version of God of War and God of War 2. Like, honestly, stay away from this one. And it's not because it's on a handheld, because we have 2 PSP games. Stay away from this version. For your collection, fine, but I'm only finishing it because of the trophies. I want to get the platinums because I've platinumed every God of War game. But go ahead and get yourself God of War, preferably God of War Collection on the PS3. Excellent game. So there's a lot of ties to the birth of my son with this game. My son was born in 2006, December 2nd to be exact. And I had this habit during those years. I was kind of like not playing too many games, just Madden and GTA. That was pretty much Madden, GTA, and SOCOM 3. SOCOM 2 and then SOCOM 3. That's pretty much all I played. Well, the EA Sports games. I played like the mature games, whatever. And my son was born. So that Saturday, I went home. He was in the hospital. So Sunday morning, I went to the game store. And I said, I always had a habit of picking up $20 PlayStation 2 games. Greatest hits. I picked up God of War. I said, you know what? My friend always talked about this game. Let me pick it up. I went and saw my son. I went to work. I should have took the day off. I went to work. So when I came home Sunday night, because I was off Monday and Tuesday, I popped the game in. And wow, you start the game in the Asian Sea. You're fighting this huge serpent monster thing. A giant fucking snake with a lizard head. Just a monster. And it's like, okay, you're kicking ass. So you finally get to the boss fight of that level. And when you climb to the top, it's this humongous monster. And I'm like, wow. And again, at number 10, I had Streets of Rage. I love beat 'em ups. Beat 'em ups were pretty much non-existent during that era. The PS2, Dreamcast, Xbox, GameCube era. I know there's a lot right there, but there was 4 consoles that generation, with the Dreamcast dying first, and then the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox finishing the generation. And this game brought that beat 'em up feel to a game. It was like a hack and slash. The graphics at the time were superior for PlayStation 2. And for gaming, at that time in 2005, the graphics were top tier. The audio obviously was great audio. It was a Greek mythology setting, which I always loved Greek mythology. Kratos is a badass. Not only is he a badass, he has sex in the game with girls. You literally have a sex mini game in the game. Something you won't ever see from Sony again. PlayStation doesn't do that anymore. That censorship that they got going, you won't see that again. They have sex mini games in the game. Kratos was just a monster. Yeah, I was growing a Kratos beard, but I caught COVID and I just cut everything off. But after this video, I'm gonna cut this off. We're gonna grow the Kratos beard back. We're growing it back, guys. We're growing back the Kratos beard because he's the man. He's awesome. I love him. My favorite gaming character. I love Kratos. He's the man. My favorite PlayStation franchise. Hack and slash. Great storytelling. Great graphics. Great challenges. So many enemies. And you can't go wrong with God of War. But you cannot go wrong with God of War 2. You cannot go wrong with God of War 3. Those 3 games are phenomenal. Now, God of War Ascension, I think it's an excellent game. Now, playing it back in 2021, September, I played through it. October, September, and I got the platinum. And I'm like, this game is not that bad. It needed to be on PS4. The PS3 honestly couldn't handle the game. The PSP games, are excellent games. Chains of Olympus and Ghosts of Sparta are excellent games. But I think the cream of the crop is God of War 1, 2, and 3. And let's not forget 2018's Game of the Year, God of War on PlayStation 4, which is God of War 4. It takes place after God of War 3. He's now in Norse mythology settings. The same Kratos, but he made his way into the Norse mythology realm. He has a son now. He's a lot older. And they made the hack and slash action game into a action RPG. And it worked. I highly suggest playing it on a PS5 or PC so you can get like 60 frames per second, which the PS4 can't seem to do, or the PS4 Pro. But just find a way to play it in 60 frames so you can get that true God of War feel. Because I've experienced that in 2021. I played the game for a second time. But it all goes back to God of War 1. It's my favorite one. I love the gameplay. The story is like perfect. At times in God of War 2, it felt like they were reaching with the story. God of War 3, they just went extreme. You know, the God of War game, God of War 4, the story was pretty bland. And then, you know, the other games were prequel games. Ascension, Ghosts of Sparta, Chains of Olympus were all prequel games. But God of War 1 just gave you the story. And as you played, you watched the cutscenes and you saw what happened to his wife and daughter. You saw how he became the Ghost of Sparta with the white skin. I'll spoil it. It's the ashes. It's literally, he got cursed with ashes. It's the ashes of his wife and daughter that he killed by mistake. And this game just touched me. And it also was there with the birth of my son. So it was like my time killer. Hey, he has 3 hours to feeding time. I can't go to sleep. I'm going to stay up. So time the game for 3 hours. Feed the baby, then go to sleep. So it just touched me in life. Not to mention at that point in my life, his attitude, my attitude were one of the same. Not proud of it, but the way he acted in that game, I mean, that was T-Belly. In those early years, that was definitely me. I mean, even now, you piss me off, you'll see the Kratos side of me, you know. So, shout out to God of War Santa Monica Studios, my second favorite game of all time. And now, it's time for number 1. Alright, guys, it's time for number 1. So, this is a simple pick. I have two versions of the game. I'm only going to show you the main version. I didn't want to go through my bins and everything. So, everybody that knows me knows this is my favorite game of all time. If they truly know me, they know this is my favorite game of all time. Unless we never had gaming conversations. So, this is a no-brainer. It's simple. So, has a Metacritic score of 97, which was a 99. It was a 99, but you know, after 108 reviews, it dropped down to 97. I'll explain why in a second, because I know why. It went from 99 to 97. I know why. I'll tell you why. This game is a Switch game. It got me pumped for the Switch. I was pumped for this game. I'm watching it. It had a little bit of God of War, a little bit of Grand Theft Auto, a lot of my favorite gaming franchise of all time. It was a combination of what T-Belly likes. I love to explore the Shadow of the Colossus, the Ecos. I love exploring the open world of Grand Theft Autos, the action of like God of War. I love these things. And it all boils down to this one game. And it's a no-brainer if you know me. If you don't know me, well, now you know T-Belly's favorite game of all time. And it's also the reason I started playing games hardcore again. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The 2017 Game of the Year. The greatest game of all time to many. This game was literally the top game on Metacritic until the Ocarina of Time haters, no, the Ocarina of Time fiends says, we cannot have Breath of the Wild be better than Ocarina of Time. So, Ocarina of Time has 22 reviews to get a Metacritic score of 99. Breath of the Wild has 108. It took over 50 reviews to finally drop it to 98. I remember the first guy that gave it a 7 out of 10. He literally got death threats, which is stupid. People shouldn't do that. But guys, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This game, like I said, it has a little bit of all those things. For me, it was the perfect experience. It launched alongside the Switch, so it was available on Wii U, March 3rd, 2017, and it was also available on Nintendo Switch. And Nintendo Switch launched that day, so for me, it's a Switch game. For most people, it's a Switch game. I mean, it's a Switch game. It's a Switch game ported to Wii U. It started on Wii U, so technically it's a Wii U game ported to Switch, but it's the better version of the game. It has better frame rate has better frame rates and more control options. The Wii U doesn't even take advantage of the Wii U gamepad, which is weird. As great as the Wii U is, that's the one game that doesn't take advantage of the gamepad. And let me tell you guys, freaking Breath of the Wild was a life-changing game. It made me go back and play every home console Zelda game. And I did, from The Legend of Zelda to Skyward Sword, which I played Legend of Zelda first in January of 2017. And in March, I played through Breath of the Wild. And then I went on all the way to December of 2018, where I finally beat Skyward Sword. And that was it for me, man. But I did them all, and I have to say, Breath of the Wild is my favorite. It's different. It's not a traditional Zelda game, but it's the type of game I like. If you look at my list, you can see a little bit of Breath of the Wild in almost all of these games. The open world of Pokemon. The way you can do things how you want in a lot of these games. And that's what I loved about Breath of the Wild, guys. It was a game that, it was an explorer's game. It was a game about exploring. It was a game about doing what you want to do. I've literally seen people fight a group of bokoblins like this. They burn the grass. When you burn the grass, the Hyrule realm, the Earth of Hyrule, takes out the fire. So it shoots air into the sky. I've seen people burn grass, and when the air comes out, they jump and use their paraglider to fly up into the air and then fly into the bokoblins and shoot bow and arrows at them, or shoot a fire arrow at a dynamite tank and blow them up. Like, there's so many things to do. And in that same scenario, there's hundreds of ways to take on that scenario. A group of bokoblins, they're next to a fire, they're next to fire tanks. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. You can literally grab a rock, move it over, and drop a rock on them. You can sneak and catch the ones that are sleeping and get stealth attacks. There's so many ways. You can shoot a lightning arrow, electrocute all of them, run over there and just bash them with a big giant club. I mean, guys, the game is so complex in the sense of it's so free. It's such a free roaming game. It's a game where once you get off the Great Plateau, which is where you start the game, get off the Great Plateau. I feel like some retro people are judging the game without getting off the Great Plateau. Get off the Great Plateau. Do the training and get off the Great Plateau and experience the game. You can go after Ganon immediately. Hey, I don't want to play this whole game. I just want to beat it. Go right for Ganon. Good luck. But go right for Ganon. Literally go right for Ganon. No Master Sword, no Howling Shield. Just go with the dusty clothes that you got and find some weapons in Hyrule Castle and go for Ganon. There's so many ways to play. The way I played it was special. I took a bunch of the towers down. The towers are places where you go up, you try to climb these towers. They're usually obstacles. And then you use your, what's this thing called? The Sheikah Slate. It's a device like an iPad that Link has, built with Sheikah technology. And you basically put it on the tower, and now your map reveals a big part of the map where that tower stands. So the way I played was I revealed most of the map. I was only short 2 or 3 towers. And once I revealed a lot of the map, then I started just doing things. And it was like 50 hours into the game when I first got my Champion's Tunic. You're supposed to get the Champion's Tunic right after that. Like, once you get off the Great Plateau, you're supposed to go you're supposed to go somewhere. It's to the Sheikah village. I think you meet with Impa. Yeah, you meet with Impa first. Then she sends you to Kakariko village, where you beautiful music, and that's where Link can actually have a house in this game if you do the right side quest. Then when you go back to Impa, she gives you the Champion's Tunic. Yeah, T-Belly didn't get that till 50, 60 hours into the game because I was busy getting all the towers and doing things. And it was awesome. To me, it was freaking awesome because I played it the way I wanted to play it. You know, and that's how I played it. Because when I went on and played Spider-Man on PS4, I played it the same way. And that's my thing with Breath of the Wild. It's an experience that is meant for you. It is not a game where you follow a guide. I have the strategy guide. It shows you everything in every town. I needed it to get the 120 shrines. And let's not forget the lore in this game. There's so many lore. This is a game where to find out the story, you need to find his memories because Link was asleep for 100 years. So you literally got to find the memories and then piece the story together to the point where this is where Link fell asleep. And now I am where I am. It's a phenomenal game. One of the greatest games I've ever played. I mean, honestly, it's the greatest game I've ever played. And the sequel is coming, and I cannot wait. But again, that's my opinion. But the game does have a Metacritic score of 97. It was the game of the year in 2017. That speaks volumes. 2017 was one of the greatest years in gaming. Games like Mario Odyssey, which also have a 97 Metacritic, is also my top 10. Were there Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, Resident Evil 7, Cuphead. These games all came out in 2017. And Breath of the Wild came out on top at the Game Awards. And greatest game I've ever played. I probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for this game because it really got me back into gaming. But that's it for today, guys. One more time, shout out to Gaming Off the Grid for tagging me. I sat here and spoke my ass off. I gave you your 2 parts. A lot of talking, a lot of talk. Not a lot of gameplay, but a lot of talk. And we got it done, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. And let's get ready for more videos. But that's it for today. We'd love to hear your top 10 videos. Put them down below or make a video and let me know about it. And that's it for today, guys. It's me, your guy, T-Belly, King of Retro, and I'm signing off, guys. Cheers.